Welcome back to GAA Fan TV. Tipperary 25 points, Limerick 25 points. An extraordinary game of hurling that we have just witnessed. A game that goes down to the wire, a game that goes down to the last puck of the ball. And what a match, what a game, a breathtaking game, an outstanding game, and the perfect example as to why the Munster Senior Hurling Championship is where it's at in the GAA. And again, another close game. I mean, like thinking about it, Tipperary and Cork was a draw. Clare and Limerick or Clare won that by 1 or 2 points. Other than the games against Waterford, all these games have been close. All these games have gone down to the wire. I mean, Cork and Clare earlier today could have been a draw as well. And this game, it really could have went either way. Tipperary led for the majority of the game. Tipperary just seemed a bit more sharper, a bit quicker, a bit better in front of goal. I felt Limerick, there was a few moments in the game that was very un-Limerick-like. Aaron Glan's miss from about 20 metres in front of the post going down the home stretch. You wouldn't normally associate that with this Limerick team. And yeah, there was some uncharacteristic things with Limerick, like Gerard Hegarty, very quiet game, taken off. Cian Lynch gets taken off, obviously, as well. Shamie Flanagan gets taken off late on. There were definitely some uncharacteristic performances from this Limerick side, and some performances that we're not sort of used to seeing from this Limerick team. But you have to give credit to Tipperary. I mean, they were absolutely brilliant once again. Noel McGrath, outstanding performance from him, wins man of the match on RTE, 2 points from him. He was absolutely outstanding. John McGrath, obviously comes on late on, a bit of an injury to Jake Morris. So in comes John McGrath and pops that one over the bar with the last puck of the game. It was just breathtaking, absolutely breathtaking. The referee made probably some questionable decisions, in my opinion, in favour of both sides, especially going down the home stretch. I thought Barry Nash's second yellow card was very harsh, to be honest with you. He wins the free, so he's booked him for the send. Obviously, we don't know obviously what he said to the referee, and if he said something that was completely out of line, then fair enough. But it just seemed very harsh to send them off for that, like a second yellow card. Like, obviously, he's going to be pumped up and fired up after winning that free, to overturn the ball. And especially with Limerick looking in trouble at times in the game. So I thought that was a little bit harsh. A few frees as well were just a little bit soft. I felt the ref could have let it flow a little bit more. But a breathtaking game, an absolutely breathtaking game, a brilliant game, and a great advertisement for the sport of hurling. And what it does mean is that it goes down to the wire now on the final day. Tipperary will play Waterford next week. Limerick will face Cork. Limerick and Cork is, winner takes everything there. A draw, I think I've seen Cork have a better score difference, so a draw might suit, would send them through. But Tipperary just need to win, and they're going to be in the Munster final. So it's looking very likely now that Limerick won't be in the Munster final. Of course, Limerick having won 4 Munster championships in a row. Now they'll be relying on Waterford. They'll be relying on Davy Fitz to do them a favour in that match against Tipperary. I suppose no love lost between Davy and Tipperary down the years, in fairness. But yeah, in terms of the game itself, I mean, Tipperary just had the better of Limerick in the early exchanges. I felt like there was really, the lead never went bigger than 3 points. The lead never went bigger than 3 points. But Tipperary led, you would say, for probably 70 to 80% of the game. Like, Limerick done very well to stay in the game and keep battling back and keep getting on the score sheet. But it was, but at the same time, Tipperary never really pulled away. It was just a brilliant game. There wasn't a huge amount of wides. It was both sides going at it. Both sides were maybe a little bit reluctant to create goal chances at times. But at the same time, it was just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant stuff. Like, from a Tipperary perspective, Gerard O'Connor, what an addition he's been to the side this year. 9 points from him. Jake Morris with 5 points. Connor Bowe, who came on, what an extraordinary performance from him. 3 points, playing at wing back. Like, he was shooting the absolute lights out. From a Tipperary perspective, really, really strong performance from him. Sam Callanan, John McGrath, obviously, as well. Some very good performances from a Tipperary perspective, and it was tough for Limerick. Like, a lot of Limerick's puck outs in the first half were going astray. Tipperary were pressing up. Marking wise, they weren't allowing Limerick's key men to have much time in the ball. Cian Lynch nullified, Gerard Hegarty nullified. Cole Hayes at times was involved in the game, playing at that wing back role, but he was it just wasn't quite happening for him at the same time. And I think a lot of it was down to the great work that Tipperary done. Like Aaron Glan, just 6 points, bit of a low tally from him. A lot of them obviously from frees as well. Not really what you'd associate normally with Aaron Glan. Normally, much better performances. Cathal O'Neill was Limerick's best player for me on the pitch. He scored 5 points, but came off after the last couple of minutes. And it does make you wonder, like when you look at Limerick, like Shamie Flanagan, Cian Lynch, Geroid Hegarty, Cathal O'Neill, Mike Casey, all players who came off in the last 6, 7, 10 minutes or so. Obviously, Cian Lynch and Geroid Hegarty came off a little bit earlier. But it would make you wonder, like, a lot of those Limerick lads look tired going down the home stretch. And in fairness, Graham Mulcahy made a big impact coming on. Peter Casey, obviously, the same as well. Conor Boylan made an impact. Richie English was decent as well. But you were still looking at it at the same time and thinking, like, a lot of those Limerick players tired. They definitely did tire, and you would wonder, have Limerick expended too much energy through the league? I know they rotated quite heavily, but have they overtrained themselves? Have they just gone a bit too hard? Because there was just something not quite there from a Limerick perspective. But look, they play Cork in the Gaelic grounds next week. I would fancy Limerick to beat them, and that should be enough for them to get out of, to get out of the Munster round robin. They're going to beat one of the John McDonough sides if that obviously does happen. And quarterfinals, semi-finals, they'll have to go the long route to an All-Ireland like they did in 2018. But look, they're definitely still in the mix. They're still in the conversation. But there maybe is a bit of a worry from a Limerick perspective that they're not able to get Geroid Hegarty, Cian Lynch, these lads in good form. They're not able to get them into their best form at the moment. And that would be a worry. And for Tipperary, I mean, another big performance, another draw, obviously, for them. Like, they couldn't see the game out against Cork. They were very close. I think they were 2 points up in injury time at one stage in this match. 2-3 points up going into the final couple of minutes. Although they were the ones to get the draw with John McGrath. In many ways, they were very close to seeing this game out, and just missed a couple of opportunities. A few puckouts going astray as well. And couldn't quite see the game out over the line. But that will be of disappointment to Tipperary that they couldn't quite see the game out. But at the same time, it does, you couldn't split a knife between Limerick, Cork, Tipperary and Clare. Like, genuinely, I think if these two played each other more, you'd see more draws, more, there's really not much to split them. And I think it's very harsh that you're going to have a team that one of those four is going to miss out on the on the All-Ireland series, because you could be talking about the best four in the country maybe in some ways. Obviously Kilkenny and Galway are still in the conversation, but like, you look at Dublin, my own county, who are going to finish third in Leinster, they wouldn't be able to compete with any of those four sides that I just mentioned, in my opinion. Even Waterford would be very tough for Dublin to even beat Waterford, in my opinion. Maybe with the way things are with Waterford, but look, it is what it is. I suppose that's just the way the cookie crumbles, and that's the way the championship is. And I suppose that's what makes it so exciting. That's what makes it so razor thin, and that's what makes it brilliant now going into next weekend in the final round of games. And Tipperary, they just need to go out and do the job against Waterford. They're more than capable of beating Waterford. I think this Waterford side have been very poor this year, and I think Tipperary are more than capable. Waterford will have nothing to play for as well, and that will put them into the Munster final along with Clare. It's going to be hugely exciting, hugely interesting to watch the games. In terms of man of the match, I think I would agree with RT there in terms of Noel McGrath. I thought he was sensational. Conor Bowe, who came on, albeit he only played for the final 20 minutes, he was sensational as well. Geroid O'Connor, brilliant performance from him. From a Limerick perspective, I think Cathal O'Neill was very good, in fairness. And to be fair, Cathal Barra, I think you have to give him credit as well for Tipperary. I thought he had a very, very good game playing in defence. So, very exciting game, very brilliant game. And it finishes all square and all into next weekend's final round of games. So, hit the like button and subscribe if you could, if you enjoy this content. Plenty of content like this throughout the channel. We'll be on live at 7:30 with Matthew Hurley from the GA Statsman podcast to review all the football and hurling action, discuss all the games in more detail. Certainly a lot of talking points. I mean, Westmeath beat Wexford earlier today. That is absolutely mental. So we're gonna break all them down, break all the games down, and discuss it all. So cheers anyone who tuned in. Like, subscribe. See you all later.